now that you've been a couple days?
Well, I think Purdue is a very fine team. They had a great crowd on hand. They played with a lot of focus. We felt like we were very well prepared to play the game, but they really exploited their ball screen offense, and we were not able to defend it well enough during the stretch when we pulled within 5 in the second half. And with their ability to find Robbie Hummel and with Jackson being able to get to the basket, the combination of those two things made it very difficult for us to overcome that deficit.
Shane got going there. Just your thoughts on
Well,
that?
from an offensive standpoint, I thought we did a much better job in the second half than we did in the first half. In the first half, I thought we rushed a little bit and missed some golden opportunities to score. I thought the game was very, very close until the last 2 minutes of the first half. And they got a little bit of a run on us right at the very end. It gave them control of the game and a lot of momentum. But in the second half, we were able to exploit our ball screen offense, and Shane Larkin was able to get it going, driving to the basket, hitting threes, and that gave us a chance because we whittled down a 14-point lead down to 5. We were back in the game. And then we made a couple of critical turnovers that really hurt.
How has his addition, Shane, how has that really helped you guys? And what has he given you guys?
Well, the very first thing is you look at our team from a defensive standpoint, and Shane Larkin is the fastest guy we have at guarding the basketball. And when you can keep a player in front of you and you can't get dribble penetration, your perimeter defense can be much better. Now, we're going to face another guy just like Jackson tomorrow in Chaz Williams, so our point guard defense is going to be seriously challenged. But I think between Shane and Malcolm Grant, I think we'll do a much better job now as this season progresses.
Coach, with Shane coming in on the transfer, you guys have known each other for quite a while, but so many things going on when that happens. How has he been able to grasp things quickly and contribute as quickly as he has?
Well, the nice part is he's not missed practice. You know, even though we didn't know if he would be eligible for games, he was able to practice, and he was running our second unit, the green team, and with that experience, it was easier for him then to make the transition once he became eligible. But as he mentioned to me, he hadn't played with Malcolm or Duran for 5 weeks. You know, he was working with the guys in the second unit, and Malcolm and Durant were on the first unit. So once he became eligible and we started working him into the rotation, it became easier for him to play with those guys and easier for those guys to kind of learn what Shane is all about. And he's very, very good at finding the open man. He's a very smart player, has very good fundamental skills and a good grasp of the game. And I think the other players have a great deal of confidence in him. They know how fast he is because they have to guard him.
Coach, Trey McKinney-Jones in the first start of his career, what have you seen from him in practice? And going forward, do you think you're probably going to be penciling him in more often in that starting role?
Yeah, I think one of the things you got to remember, we have two transfer students in Kenny Kaji and Trey McKinney-Jones, and even though they practiced with the team last year, you get rusty not competing under game conditions. And so I think Trey has really progressed very, very nicely. We moved him into the starting lineup basically because he's been very, very consistent coming in off the bench. And we need some scoring help for Malcolm and Durant. And we were hoping we might be able to get it inside because that would give us better balance where we had an inside attack and a strong perimeter game. But it looks like we're going to be stronger on the perimeter, so we're going to give more guys an opportunity. I think what you're going to see is Shane Larkin's going to be in the starting lineup along with Malcolm Durant and Trey McKinney-Jones. It makes us very small, but we're going to move Rafael Akapajuri in there because I thought he did a terrific job of defending in the post and rebounding against Purdue. And then that moves like a guy like Ryan Brown up into the rotation. And Ryan had been sick at a critical time, we're going into like game 3. And he wasn't able to play. He was out, and then in Game 4 I didn't play him because he hadn't really been practicing. But he got a little bit of playing time against Mississippi and then considerable playing time against Purdue. I think he's now ready to make a serious contribution as well. So we'd really like to get every available player playing well, and because that would give us some depth and a good rotation.
Why has Kenny's minutes gone down the last couple of games?
Well, basically because from our statistical analysis of performance in the Tennessee Tech game, we were down 10 with 10 minutes to go in the game. We went to a small lineup with Eric Swope at center. We came back and outscored them 20-2. So that small unit was very effective. Against Rutgers, Kenny was very, very good and played a tremendous amount and was very effective in that win. In the third game, we fell behind again, and we went to the small lineup and they produced. In the fourth game, we did the same thing. The small lineup was the most effective lineup. So in the Mississippi game, when we fell behind 17-0, it was awfully early in the game to go to a small lineup like that, but we felt like we had no choice. We had dug ourselves a pretty deep hole, and they played so well, got us not only back in the game, but we were able to take a lead in the second half with that small lineup in the game. So it's just a matter of nothing against Kenny, but a strong compliment to those small guys, that small unit that they were able to produce so well.
What do you feel like you guys can do to maybe counter teams that are going to try to really go at you inside, considering this?
Well, we need Raphael and Kenny and Eric really to continue to make progress. I mean, Raphael, I said, played well against Purdue. He's going to get a chance to play significant minutes tomorrow. Some of it is from a coaching standpoint, knowing Raphael hardly played at all last year. Kenny didn't play at all. Trey McKinney-Jones didn't play at all. So these guys are kind of making the adjustment to be back in a very competitive situation. And each guy progresses at his own rate. There's no way of knowing who's going to progress faster than the other until games begin.
Is there anyone who surprised you when you talk about progress and how fast individual players adapt to the system? Is there anyone that surprised you in a good way?
I wouldn't use the word surprise. I mean, I think we felt very confident that Duran Scott and Malcolm Grant would be able to score. That was a part of it. But we were making the transition from being a zone team to a man-to-man team. We really didn't know how well they would adjust to that. And then we started out trying to play a fairly big lineup with Eric Swope and Kenny Kaji being basically our 4 and 5 man, and maybe as big as we can get at the 4 and 5, except if we play Raphael and Kenny together. And so I think Eric Swope has been a very good student of what we're doing. If you look at his stats, he makes very, very few mistakes. He doesn't take bad shots. He doesn't throw the ball away. He defends and plays very hard. He's good on the backboards, and he's a fun guy to play with. He sets very good screens to get our guards open. So we really like what Eric is doing.
But with Shane moving into a larger role, more minute type thing, how does that help Malcolm or change Malcolm and Duran's role off ball a little bit more?
Well, what we want to do, and I don't know how quickly we can accomplish this, is really have like a three-headed monster where all three of them will play the point various times during the game. And we're going to do it based on who the matchups are and who's got the best advantage. If we play Duran, Malcolm and Shane, and they put a 3-man on who doesn't really defend ball handlers very well, then Duran will actually be at the point, and Shane and Malcolm will be at the wings. The beauty of the three of them is they can all handle and they can all shoot the three and they can all drive to the basket. So hopefully that'll create mismatch problems for the opponent.
Just an update with Bishop. Is still hurt. Do you expect him back at any point this year? Or?
He's walking now without a boot. A lot of progress for him. He's been in that boot probably 3 months out of the last 4. So he's out of the boot again and progressing. He hasn't practiced yet. So, he's not in any kind of shape, and he's fallen behind in several categories. So we will kind of reevaluate his position probably over the Christmas break.
Thank you, Coach.
And Reggie, just a little update.
Yeah, Reggie's been practicing, and doing a very good job. He's obviously needs to get in shape after his first practice. A very good sign of how hard he worked and how sore he was is he jumped into a cold bath, ice cold water, to try to reduce some of the soreness because his legs were just killing him. But the knee didn't swell. It wasn't, you know, a result of the injury being sore. It's just that his muscles are so out of shape. And but he practiced very hard on Sunday and Monday. Of course, we had a shoot around on Tuesday, which he did. We took Wednesday off, and now he came back and practiced Thursday, and he'll practice today. So by tomorrow, he'll have put in basically a week. And each day he seems to improve a little bit and get a little more flexibility back in that knee. Probably the biggest thing that I notice is that he does not have the ability to bend, you know, you can bend your knee like that. He can only go about that far. He doesn't have the flexibility or range of motion in the knee. Like when he goes for a layup, it's his right knee, so he pushes off the left, he can only go up a little bit. So until he gets that total flexibility back, he's not going to be nearly 100% or nearly as effective as he would be when the knee is completely healed.
As far as his basketball shape, how's he look getting up and down the court?
I would say better than I expected. I think he's enjoying it a lot. You know, sometimes you come back, you're a little rusty, but he's in great spirits and working very, very hard. The one thing that I noticed is in practice, he's a outstanding offensive rebounder and very good passer out of the low post. And of course, he's an excellent screener. So, you know, it'd be nice that when we get him back.
Do you guys have a date or a game targeted?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that's always left up to the trainers and the doctors. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.